there, it's Arlen and Elsa Salty, and this is the Breakforth Journeys podcast.
This is the podcast that brings you from the comfort of your home to walk the pages of Scripture in the very lands of the Bible.
Most of these recordings are from our main spiritual teacher for all of our Breakforth Journeys tours, the renowned award-winning author from Sweden, Reverend Hans Weisbrot.
But before we get into our show today, we want to invite you to join us for one or more of our spiritual journeys to the lands of the Bible. Every tour sells out, so please ask for your free brochures today at breakforthjourneys.com.
Now let's get started.
Pool of Siloam, also known as the King's Pool, is the place where Jesus ordered the blind man to wash and he was healed. Listen in now as Hans gives insight on Jesus' miracle and the building up of faith this location can provide. Now, here's Hans.
Okay, dear friends. So, at this spot, it's awesome because things are happening here all the time. They're excavating as we speak, and they also have a flooding to take care of. Usually we walk alongside or in the sewer, actually, all the way up to the southern side of the Temple Mount, but that has been closed now for a couple of weeks due to lots of mud. So you will unfortunately not have that experience this time. Perhaps next time you come to Jerusalem. Okay, and can everybody hear me now? Okay, so where have we arrived now? Well, we have arrived to the Pool of Siloam. You say Siloam? Yeah, Siloam. And this is from Jesus' day and age. This is not from King Hezekiah and his pool. This is from the Second Temple period, right? And as I told David's bus, but repetition is the mother of knowledge, right? I went here with an assistant to the archaeologist who excavates this area. And he told me as we were walking around here that the Pool of Siloam, now picture a pool much bigger than what we can see. We know that the remains of the pool, the ruins of the pool goes way into that garden. But someone owns that garden and they've been trying to buy it, but they can't buy it right now. So therefore, we only have a little part of it. So this pool here was big. And this was a mikveh, the biggest mikveh in Jerusalem. So this was where you came when you wanted to be purified. And after that, you started to ascend on the stairs going north up to the Temple Mount. And as the guy told me, the expert, when I was here, that if you didn't know where you were going to meet, let's say that you were pilgrims coming from Galilee and you were meeting your relatives who came from Bethlehem and you were celebrating Passover together. Perhaps you couldn't even set the day. That's shocking for a Swede. Perhaps a Canadian too, right? Because we live by the minute. Well, perhaps they couldn't even set the day. It's like we will meet each other one of 3 days. Day 1, 2, or 3 of the week. Well, if they didn't decide where to meet, everybody knew this was the place where you met. So this was the big meeting place in Jesus' day and age. So if you want to picture this place 2,000 years ago, you should think about, the pool being big, filled with water, this not being like now with lots of dust and dirt on it, right? But looking much more, clean and glowing and all that. And you're seeing the stairs and the big road going up to the temple, lots of shops, lots of stores, lots of people. So that's the picture that you have to keep in mind when you sit here. Lots and lots and lots of people. Coming from all over Israel, and not only Israel, but Jewish people and proselytes coming from basically all over the Roman Empire. For example, right before the big feasts gathering here. Okay, and now we move right into the Bible, and the Pool of Siloam is mentioned in John chapter 9. John chapter 9. And therefore, we can know for sure that this is a Jesus spot, right? And the text goes like this. John 9 verse 1. As Jesus went along, he saw a man blind from birth. his disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" "Neither this man nor his parents sinned," said Jesus. "But this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world." After saying this, and now listen to this. You know, Jesus healed thousands and thousands of people. And in the last chapter of the Gospel of John, it is stated that if they were to record everything that Jesus did, including all miracles, they say not all the books of the world would be enough to mention all the wonderful, awesome things that Jesus did. So he healed thousands and thousands of people, right? But he did it in different ways. And for example, you might recall, not that you were there, but you've read about it, the woman who had suffered a disease for 12 years. What do you call that disease? The hemorrhage. Hemorrhage, right? For 12 years. Well, she comes up to Jesus, as it seems in Capernaum, up in Galilee. And there's a big crowd around him, right? And she just struggles, almost wrestles with hundreds of other people to get close to Jesus. I was once up by the Western Wall for one of the feasts. I was standing, right there in the big plaza, close to a big candle for Hanukkah, and thousands of people were gathered, right, to pray. All of a sudden, a car stopped several hundred meters away. And out from the car came one of the two most famous rabbis in the world. You should have seen the crowd. Everybody left me. All of a sudden, I was standing there almost by myself by the candle, right? And everybody ran towards the rabbi and towards the car. And, they wrestled with each other just to try to come as close to the rabbi as possible. Very un-Swedish. We Swedes will go like this and take a number, right? Stand in line. And somebody gets, no, don't do that, right? Well, they don't behave like Swedes here. They never have done that. So I think we have a hard time to take in how it was for Jesus almost every day. It is said in one verse in the Gospels that they barely had time to eat. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people around Jesus, and you knew that if you just touched Jesus, you were healed. You can just imagine, right? So this woman up in Capernaum, she touches Jesus, and immediately she is what? Healed. Thanks be to God, right? Now Jesus stops in the middle of the crowd, everybody pushing in. He stops. And people had great respect for Jesus. So if he stopped, then you knew that don't go against him right now, because he has just stopped. So he stops. So everybody just stops, right? It's like, pause. The picture freezes. And Jesus starts to look around, right? He's looking for that woman because he says, I felt that power came out from me. Somebody got healed, and now I want to meet her. I want to see her, right? And after a little while, she comes trembling and stands before Jesus and, thanks him that she was healed. And he says, your faith has healed you. Go in peace, right? Go in shalom. Go in shalom. So Jesus, he refused to just be a battery, just be a power source. He always healed because he wanted to have the personal relationship eye to eye. That was the most important thing for him. So every time Jesus heals, we need to ask ourselves the question, what message is he sending now? In what way is he wanting to kind of have a deep relationship with this person? And I think that is wonderful, isn't it? So, now we come back to this place, or close to this place, I should say. And Jesus then answers about the blind born man like this. Or he does like this. After saying this, and listen now, I love this. He spit on the ground, made some mud with and this is hard for a Swede, saliva? Saliva, yeah. Saliva, whatever. Spit. Yeah, spit. He made mud with the spit. And put it on the man's eyes. This was, he didn't do this usually. I mean, he's the Son of God. He's God and a human being at the same time. He's the man who stilled the storm with one word. I mean, he didn't need to use mud to heal someone. So, the apostles must have been thinking, what is he doing? Perhaps, 100 meters from here or a couple of 100 meters, some direction. He's putting mud on this person's eyes. So strange, right? Go, he told him, wash in the pool of Siloam. You say Siloam? The Siloam. And this word means sent, because the word for sending in Hebrew is salach. So the meaning of the word for this pool here was to be sent, which was most appropriate, right? Because you came here to the mikveh to be purified. After that, you were sent to what? To an encounter with the God of Israel. So now this man is sent to this pool. And now just picture this. It says, so the man went and washed and came home seeing. Now picture this. Everybody here is going about what they're doing. Some are purifying, some are shopping, nothing changes. Lots of people are meeting, mingling with each other. There are rabbis standing, teaching, perhaps thousands of people here. All of a sudden, a man comes running. And the man comes running together with some people who leads him. And his pulse is like 200. And he has lots of mud on his eyes. You can just picture him coming in. Everybody's like, what's happening? And the people who live in Jerusalem, they go, we know that guy. What's he doing? Why does he have mud on his eyes? What's happening? He's coming like this. And they say, we know him. He's born blind, but what has happened to his eyes? And he's coming in like this. And they lead him down into the pool. And he starts to wash in the pool, right? And everybody's like, what's he doing? And all of a sudden, he looks at everybody like, I can see. You don't have to make a movie. I mean, it's a movie in itself, right? And, the people who know him, they're shocked. And they tell everyone else, he has been blind since he was born. And now he's seeing. Can you see how smart Jesus is? This was 10 times better than putting posters all over town. Jesus is king. Everybody here could see his power, because then people start to ask themselves the question, who did this? And the answer is like in the Sunday school. The right answer is always, Jesus. Well, there you go. So you're standing on a spot 2,000 years ago that touched thousands of people's lives. So you can go home and read the rest of John 9 and just see, how the waves, the shock waves just started to go out all over the city. Who is Jesus? Or he must be the Messiah. Or can he be the Messiah? Nobody else can do like this. He was blind since he was born. And now he can see, you see? So Jesus, he was very smart when he did this. So I think it would be appropriate for us to just stop a second in the midst of this. I love this because things are happening in the country all the time. But you can hear me, right? So I think it's most appropriate that we just stop for prayer. Is Arlen here? Could you lead us in prayer, Arlen? I think, we could just stop and pray. And what I just sense before Arlen will lead us in prayer is that Wouldn't an appropriate prayer be, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm very good at doubting. I have the gift of doubting. That's not a gift, right? No. But you know, so what tends to happen to me is that, you know, my picture of how much Jesus can do is like this often. And then I say, God, do anything. And I mean like anything in here, in this small box. And I think Jesus brought us here to tell us, you know, once again, remind us about that verse in the Bible, nothing is impossible for the Lord. And He wants to just enlarge in our faith.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Breakforth Journeys podcast. We pray you were richly blessed.
Before we leave you today, we want to remind you that you can experience an incredible spiritual journey of a lifetime to the lands of the Bible with Hans as your spiritual teacher at virtually every biblical site on the tour. We also serve as leaders as well as leading in times of worship and prayer along the way.
As you can imagine, having Hans as your teacher, every tour sells out, sometimes a year or more in advance. If you'd like to learn more about our tours, see beautiful photos of the Holy Lands, read blog posts about new discoveries, as well as to receive a free copy of our book, The Christian Pilgrim's Insider's Guide, please head over to breakforthjourneys.com.
Until next time, may God richly bless you day by day.